Hey all, just looking to share with you my latest bead haul. A couple different places I went to. The first is I was at Michael's and they were having an excellent sale. So I was able to pick up a couple of staples. This is a value pack of suede cord in neutral colors. Quite honestly, I have not done anything with cording yet, but I'm looking to get into kumihimo and some other options for doing necklaces. And I like the idea of the value pack one because as I'm learning new stuff, you know, I want to have a lot of extra left over because I know mistakes will be made and things will be discarded. So I want to make sure that by the time I've done a couple practice runs, I still have something left over to actually do something I will end up wearing or be able to give away. So this was a decent buy at about 10 bucks for several different colors in neutral and the suede cord. And while these weren't on sale, I was running out of my 20 gauge wire and 18 gauge wire. I actually was hoping to get more 18 gauge in the gold, but that seems to be a little bit harder to come by. But 20 gauge is also really good for doing ear wires and jump rings and things like that. And then I was able to find the 18 gauge in the silver. So the gold was a little pricey. I think both were close to 10 bucks, which still isn't so bad for the amount of wire that you get, and it lasts a pretty long time. And again, 20 and 18 gauge are also good base wires if you're doing wire wrapping projects. And then these happen to be in the 99-cent bin, and I have a couple drawers full of beads that are mixed beads, things that were left over and not used in projects, and so, you know, mixes of seed beads and other things. So this was a good buy for 99 cents. I picked up 4 of them, and what I liked about these were the screw tops. They had other ones in there that were more of the cork that sets inside the tube, and I don't really like those as much because I'm always afraid that when you pull it out, the beads are going to go flying with too much force. So I really like the idea of the screw top. These are glass files, but you can see they're pretty long, so they'll hold a good amount of beads for whatever it is that you want to use them for. You can never have enough stretch cord, and I look for 2 different sizes. I look for the 1 millimeter in diameter size, and also I look for the 0.7 millimeter in size. Because the 7 millimeter is great when you're doing things with delica beads. 1 millimeter cord will not let you use the 11/0 delicas. You can use 8/0 and 6/0 usually without a problem with the 1 millimeter, but if you're going to do 11/0s, then the set 0.7 or 0.8 millimeter seems to work well for those. Obviously 0.5 is good too, but 0.5 starts to get a little thin, and you might run into a problem with the cords breaking, and especially if you're putting any heavier beads on there, you're going to run into a problem with the 0.5. So I really like to stick with the 0.7 and the 1 millimeter stretch cord. So the beads at Michael's were having a great sale where they were doing $3 a strand, and any of you familiar with Michael's, a lot of their stuff runs anywhere from $3.99 a strand all the way up to $10.99 a strand, and every single bead landing bead strand was on sale for $3 regardless of what its original price was. So I was able to pick up quite a few different types of beads in both glass and their gemstones. So to start, I was able to pick up a couple of different glass beads in squares, and I've come to really like the square beads because they really add a different dimension to the texture of projects, whether it be earrings or bracelets mixed with pearls or seed beads or a mix of both. They also add a sparkle to them with their facets. So I got some in a black glass, and then in kind of in like a aqua blue, and looks like there's a little gray and some green in there. These red rondelles were nice, and they'll make something really nice for the autumn and even for Christmas. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do. Half the time when I go bead shopping, I just pick up beads that look interesting and figure out later on what they're going to end up going with. That's how I end up with the collection that I have. I know other beaders that go in with a very specific project in mind. I have never become disciplined enough to do that. So I just saw these and thought that that they would make some that they would make a great bracelet or and matching earrings of some sort. These metal rondelles are great, and it's nice because there was a mix of gold and copper in here. So eventually, and you can never have enough of these because these are great spacer beads to separate out and add a little metal to your beadwork. And I don't know if you can tell through the camera, but they're kind of in a flower shape, which is really cool. And I was hoping it was going to give a size. I'm going to guess that these are 3 or 4 millimeter beads. It's not saying on the package, but again, they're a mix of copper and gold, and so once I take them off the strand, I'll separate them out because I've got bins designated to the types of metal that I end up having with beads. The hematite is a really nice gemstone. It's very shiny. Looks like metal, almost like a gunmetal. And it had some really cool shapes with the Heshi bead, or rondelle, I think is what they're calling them. But it also kind of looks like a Heshi bead. And then these are 4 millimeter spacer beads. And it's nice because with the 4 millimeters, they gave a really generous 3-strand selection, and then 1 strand of the rondelles. But you can see they gave quite a bit to the 1 strand. I also picked up some leopard's jasper and some rhodonite. It's nice because there's a mix of kind of pinks and browns and black in there. And this is where, again, I like to play with a lot of texture with the jewelry. So it kind of gives like this really cool earthy tone. And it gives a really cool earth tone. And then I can mix it with, I like to mix it with some of the shinier foiler, some of the shinier seed beads, to really bring some sparkle to it. And then we have a 10 millimeter dyed quartz. And hopefully, it looks like the camera's picking up the detail pretty well. This is a smooth bead, but the way that the coloring is, it kind of has a textured look to it. So I thought that was pretty cool. This is an 8 millimeter dyed reconstituted stone. It sort of looked like turquoise, and I actually have turquoise in my collection, but again, I like the variation of the colors, the greens and the blues in this. This 12 millimeter dyed agate just reminded me of the ocean and summer swimming and things like that. And again, I really just loved the variation in the colors and the swirls. Something this big could work with a single stone of this, could work in a pair of earrings, then mixed with smaller stones, either in a drop earring or something with hoops. And of course, it would certainly work in a necklace or bracelet. Probably more a necklace than a bracelet. I think actually 12 millimeter might be a little bit big in a bracelet. This 8 millimeter rutilated agate, thought was beautiful. It has just a hint of blue, but a lot of brown and grays and some white color. A lot of it kind of looked like smoke almost. Again, I thought it was a nice variation. It's a smooth bead, but the variation in the colors add a lot of texture, and then you can bring in smaller beads with solid colors to really kind of offset what's happening in this stone. And then this is my last strand from Michaels. It actually is a glass bead. It just got caught up in the other beads when I was showing the glass beads before. And this is a mix of rondelle and a cube bead, but as you can see in the same color scheme. And a couple weeks ago I had gone to a local bead shop and found a couple other types of glass beads. These I really liked. They're glass, but they kind of reminded me of like a dragon's blood agate with the green and the red. And then these was kind of a happy accident because I actually had some of these in my stash already, but I was running low, so I guess there was a reason why I eyed them when I was in there. I really like these, and I'm actually, when I saw this, I'm actually going to make a necklace. I have another aqua bead. It's a square bead that will serve as a really nice pendant drop. And then I'm just going to go through my seed bead stash and see what I have that's also going to work for this, but this will make a really nice statement necklace when I mix it with other beads. Right now I'm thinking single strand, but that could change once I get my board out and see what I have for beads to go with this. I don't know that it comes through as clearly, but the specks of color are actually specks of a gold color in here. And this is more of kind of like a, this is more green than blue, almost like a mint color. And hopefully I'll be able to kind of correct the color in the video and editing before I post this to better show you the colors. And these are the final glass beads. And then I picked up a couple more seed beads. You can never have enough seed beads. These are 8/0s. Try to get my hand out of the way of the light. Here we go. 8/0s in a purple rainbow luster. The slightly bigger 6/0 seed bead. Also in a rainbow luster, but more of kind of a yellowish gold base on the outside. And then these green tea gold beads. And these are 11/0s. And I got these at the same place that I got the kind of mimicked dragon's blood, and I liked each of these on their own, but when I got them in the bin together I decided that they would go really nicely together with whatever I end up doing, and I'm really kind of thinking earrings definitely for these. And then finally I got these 10mm closed rings. They actually had them as open split rings too, for jump rings, but I really liked them as a closed ring. I like using things like this in earrings, again, to add some texture and length to things, especially in metals. And I really liked the fact that this was kind of like a twisted ring. Just for the look of it, it really kind of makes things look a little fancier than just having a single strand jump ring.